Hello, welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz, and I will be guiding you on this journey today. First journey is picking out what deck we're going to use. I do this before every reading. This is actually the deck that I've been thinking about, but that doesn't mean that it wants to be bothered. So we do get consent before every reading because I want to be sure that the deck that we use wants to actually provide a message, right? So I'm just going to shuffle the deck until one card comes out. We're only going to take one. So, and it's either a yes or no card. And if it's a no card, we just move on to the next deck. So that's why I have all these decks out here. So while we're doing that, just a quick little setting expectations. What was that? Seven of Cups reversed. We're going to take that as a no. I'm not psychic. I'm certainly not claiming to be, but I do know these cards, and my intention is to give you the message as it's coming through to me in as many ways as it is coming through to me. And also, I like to, Page of Swords, the Star, okay, I think we will. We will use, I think this is the Guardians deck. I haven't even actually used this deck for YouTube readings before, so that's fun. Okay. So, what was I saying? I like to explain the cards to you because no doubt you are receiving your own message, your own confirmation, because obviously you're the one that's living your life. So if there is not a message that I'm saying out loud, but there is something that is coming through to you that is very much a message, but also at the same time, don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole to fit a narrative. Obviously use your discernment. Not everything in the reading may resonate for you. It is a general reading, blah, blah, blah. What else though? I feel like I'm missing something. I would absolutely love it if you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, I'm just glad that we are both here. But of course, it does help me grow, and I love that. I do feel like I'm missing something, but whatever. If I think of it, if it comes to me, then I'll just message you in in the reading. So, yeah, let's get to it. Great. So, this is a reading for Taurus. Wherever Taurus is in your chart, how you doing? I know Uranus is still in Taurus. Where is it? 27 degrees. It might be like 28 degrees. I don't know, but I have a 27 degree Taurus Chiron and a 28 degree Taurus Sun. So yeah, your girl is something. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. We have the Nine of Wands. It feels a little burnt out, the Nine of Wands. Like the leaves are just kind of limp, and usually on plants, right? Like if you have plants, if you have a pothos, you probably know, when the plants or the leaves get limp like that, they need water. Unless they have been overwatered, in which case, but it feels more like underwatered. And it's interesting too, because up here on their head, it looks like there's these tree roots. That's interesting because it does feel, are you dehydrated? Do you need water, bro? I know I do. just in general. I'm just not a great water drinker, but anyway. In like this whole Guardian looks like a desert. What else for Taurus? What else for Taurus? Because this can't be it. This can't be it. I mean, truly, you know, like be sure that you are taking care of yourself. Like the Nine of Wands does talk about burnout. You know, like traditionally the Nine of Wands is the wounded warrior. Like they've been through it. You know, they're pretty beat up. They're usually like depicted like taking a rest. Interesting. Like these two cards came out. We have the Strength card and the Death card. Interesting. Hermit at the bottom of the deck. Also, interestingly enough, these both have like portals in them. The Death card and the Strength card. So it's almost like, you know, waiting for something to relieve you or something to save it. Maybe even to like waiting for the right opportunity. I keep saying waiting too. What is that? What is that about? But waiting for the right opportunity. And like with this Nine of Wands here, I'm going to read from the book from each one of these cards because I have absolutely loved what the creator of this deck has been saying for every single card that has come up. I think that every message has been so perfect. So I'm going to read also from the guidebook, but in doing so, right? Like it just kind of feels like it's like sucking the life out of you in some capacity. You know, like kind of being in whatever the situation is for you. Nines are individual completion though too. So like the Nine of Wands, like I said, in the traditional tarot, they are generally depicted as, you know, being a bit beat up. But they've made it through the battle. You know, wands have to do with the actions that we take, the motivation behind the actions that we take, creativity, passion. How are we communicating those things? What actions are we taking towards those things? I also see wands as being information by way of experience, because that's what we get by trying things, right? Like we figure out what works, we figure out what doesn't work. What do we like? What don't we like? And truly, the only way to figure that out is by doing. And if you have been either trying new things, even trying to have, you know, trying to take actions towards something even differently, this is all like life lesson stuff too. And truly just how life can sometimes feel like it's kicking your ass sometimes, right? Like that is all Nine of Wands. Like you're still standing, but beat up, you know? And the message in the Nine of Wands traditionally is that it's totally okay to give yourself a moment to rest, especially if you are experiencing burnout. But it's not a 10, right? So there's like that you have like the last 100 meters, or is it 50, whatever it is, like, you can see the finish line. It's right there. But gather yourself together first, type of thing. The book says, as this guardian makes his appearance, rest assured it is fine to be angry towards the situation at hand. Calm and icy cool leaves are presented to the world, while just under the surface, the true emotions are swelling one into action. When faced with this card, you are going to need to find a way to communicate in a calmer manner, regardless of the level of anger you have towards a situation. Sounding off without calculating your words will only exacerbate the conflict. However, it is imperative that your concerns are dealt with before they explode beyond your control. They do look a little mad in the face. Taurus does represent the throat, right? So there may be something that you need to say to whoever you need to say it to. Also, I think this was, a little bit of a warning. Like, yes, you do have, your feelings are valid, right? To be angry or frustrated, whatever energy that you're in. But also at the same time, being able to effectively communicate that will only serve you, right? Like it helps to relieve frustration, anger. Because I don't know about you, but for me, like if I am having a hard time communicating, especially if I'm pissed, it just makes me even more mad. I was also like getting a feeling about social media too. Like whatever you put on the internet, it stays there. So, um, if you see a hot take, if you see something, if you want to give a hot take, great, do that. But also be sure to get your words together. Okay. The strength card says, strength has her roots deeply set into the earth, while a symbolic portal trellis arches overhead to connect to the moon. To connect to the moon, to her inner intuition. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me start. Speaking of communication, okay? Strength has her roots deeply set into the earth, while a symbolic portal trellis arches overhead to connect to the moon, to her inner intuition. She stands at the portal, ready to assist those who are to step from the mundane, pass through the arch, and onto new adventures and potential with the rising sun. I'm going to read the reverse first. Since both of these came out more in the reverse. It says, in the reverse, this card can indicate that before you are able to take on new opportunities, you need to first complete what you have already started. Upright, this card indicates that there's an opportunity opening. You need to take the initiative to act on the opportunity. Without a direct action from you, there can be no change. Also, too, even just see like the roots in the ground, or like on this rock or stone, whatever, this is, and the roots on this guardian's head. It's interesting because these leaves now almost feel like a mask or some sort of protection or front, right? That you were putting on, like maybe you are giving here's the thing, right? Like, people cannot read our minds. Truly, like, until we actually share what is going on in there, our actions, our demeanor, the looks on our faces, right? Like, people are going to make assumptions based on their own um internal dialogue, right? Like, you think that you're showing them how you feel based on your actions. They are probably not taking it that way because there's been no communication about it. So literally, like, there's assumptions being made around the block. Like, you're assuming they don't care, they don't see you, they're not listening, they're not whatever. They're assuming that you're having a few bad days, or, like, so just be mindful of that as someone who has had to learn that lesson a few times. Truly, nobody knows until you actually say it out loud. And also, like, it doesn't have to be conflict, it doesn't have to be confrontation. Um, it's interesting. I was actually having this conversation with a friend the other day, but I saw this video that was like the whole video, and it was it wasn't like a hot take, but it was like one of those let me hold your hand when I say this type of thing. But they were like, just because you have a difference of opinion doesn't mean that we're fighting, doesn't mean that we're like arguing, or like, and I think a lot of us are conditioned to expect that, like, we expect to like be defensive, because that's the interactions that we had as children, teenagers, adolescents, like, whatever. But you really can only be responsible for your side of the street. You can only really be responsible with how you are communicating, your intention behind what you are communicating also. And if there's clarity that needs to be gained, you can do that. Like, once you get it out, like, you can say, let me just clarify a couple things, or whatever. And if people too, it's their responsibility also to ask for clarity, or to say, this is what I understand you're saying, and this is how I'm taking it, right? So anyway, interesting. But yeah, the strength card indicates that before you are able to take new opportunities, which would be it being upright, you need to first complete what you have already started. Interesting too how, like, look at the colors in this portal also are like all the colors that are on this 9 of Wands. Yellow, red, there's some purple, pink, not a ton of blue. I guess maybe in the mountains or the moon up there. And even the whole like finish what you have started thing. Cross your T's, dot your I's, follow through. The Death card says, screaming into the toxic atmosphere of our own creation. Let me just kind of make this so we can see it better if you're looking. Screaming into the toxic atmosphere of our own creation, this guardian finds himself alone as his tangible fears have come to life, depleting what little nourishment remains. In the reverse, this card signifies that you must carefully consider what you have fostered and contributed to the current situation. The level of frustration of the resulting effects of those choices have grown into their own monster out of your control. You need to take time to stand up and take steps to fix the situation. As this card appears in a reading, this is upright now. As this card appears in a reading, external influences have crept in and have profoundly affected your ability to live as you wish. Current events, money concerns, or negative home environments certainly influence our level of needed nourishment. Look closely to pinpoint the cause of what triggers your reactive state. Take time to be proactive. Face the trigger before it faces you. Yeah. This may not even be like with a specific person. It may just be like something within yourself. I mean, we have the Hermit card here. I'm actually excited to read the Hermit card because I haven't yet. It hasn't come out in any of the readings that I've done so far. But truly, like, this could be like, again, any aspect of your life, like the job that you're in, the literally just the energy, the vibe that you have, the experiences that you find yourself in, like whatever. I mean, of course it can be other people, but like both of these cards talk about laying something to rest. And maybe it is something that lives in your personality. Dr. Joe Dispenza says our reality is what creates our personality. Or is it our personality is what creates our reality? I think it might be that one. Which is basically to say, right, like how you are perceiving literally anything is what becomes your view, your belief of your reality. And if it is as such where, you know, maybe you're just kind of finding yourself in a vibe of not being satisfied, you know, angry, like this card was talking about, frustrated, whatever, like there's something here with the Strength card and the Death card that there's something that can be released. Like the energy is available to release that. And that could just be, again, your belief about it, your belief in yourself, your trust in yourself, how you feel about yourself. Because truly, everything is an I statement. So if there's something in you, deal with that. You know, like journal, work through the energy of it, release it, let it go. Let's see what the Hermit card says. Solitary and humble, the guardian that sits on the cliff's edge, lost in his thoughts, is unaware of another. His spirit animal, the eagle, glides upon the thermals overhead, keeping vigil. This card signifies that you need time for you. Do not be afraid to set boundaries to others. Take as much as needed. Page of Swords. It almost kind of feels like, yeah, just you know, like finding the interest again, not focusing so much on the disappointment, the anger, the, you know, but we're not going to focus on it because we're working through it, right? We're not ignoring it. We're not stuffing it down. We are acknowledging it. We're allowing it to come up. We're allowing ourselves to be pissed. If there is communication that needs to go on, even if you just tell your closest, your nearest and dearest who really care about you, like, I am just pissed at whatever it is, you know, allow yourself to be in it, right? Because also you allow it to move on. And it's all inner work, bro. Like it's all only you can do it too. Like, you have to be the one to decide. You have to be the one to allow yourself to be introspective and heal that and listen to it. Where is the disappointment or the anger like coming from? Is it with yourself? Is it with others? And why? And what can you do about it? What control do you have over it? What can you do about it? What can you change? What actions can you take? What can be released? And what do you want to do going forward? Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. I will talk to you soon. Bye.